You can see these guys, the county hotshot crew, going to war with this hotspot up in the hills above Soledad Canyon right now. Look at that line of flame, and you can also see the men and women standing there on the hillside where they have been trying on the ground to contain this and to maintain that structure defense. We've also been watching those water drops from here on the hillside, along with all the concerned members of this community here in Santa Clarita. This is happening on the hill, if you zoom out, right above some warehouses, multiple businesses, and of course nearby homes and schools, very close proximity to a very busy area in the middle of the afternoon here in Santa Clarita. This situation has stopped traffic. People were slowing down on the interstate, wondering whether they should go home. We got those evacuation warnings that came in on our phones. As you can see, what looks like could be another water drop incoming here in the last 40 minutes or so. There you go, multiple drops where specifically in that area there on the hillside, they've been trying to knock down those flames, the most active flames that we have seen here during this fire since we arrived. What was earlier way more smoke pouring down into that valley area down where the businesses and homes are has been reduced significantly. It's still where most of the smoke is going, but all the flame action, all the active fire is still happening on that kind of crest of the hill there where we see the fire personnel standing there. They've been attacking the flames on the ground. They've been going through the air like you can see there, the larger aircraft and some of the helicopter dumps. A lot of the fire also on the other side of the crest of the hill from our position here. This has been something, there are entire work crews of men and women who work nearby at some of these larger industrial buildings and businesses who are standing in the parking lot watching this firefight unfold, hoping that this is going to be put out quickly as it exploded very quickly from some 5 to nearly 50 acres over the course of about an hour and a half here north of Los Angeles. So there's been a lot of concern, traffic slowing down, people hoping that that active firefight that's mainly taking place on the crest of the hill up there will be successful. We also had a lot of support there that we could see from the bulldozer unit. You guys were talking about earlier, that bulldozer number 8, which is able to round up some of the dirt there and tamp down some of the flames, just crush some of them and snuff them out there. So you've got multiple strategies at play here in Santa Clarita to knock down the Pointe fire. And from what we can see, the smoke has severely diminished. It is much reduced compared to when we got out here around 3 o'clock on the ground. Still very much a source for concern because, as you can see, we're essentially standing over what is a shopping center. There are multiple big box stores, supermarkets, and industrial buildings here, and people standing and looking up at the hillside watching this firefight unfold, very concerned and hoping that this is going to end very soon, that they can maintain this structure defense. The good thing that we've seen, those flames not appearing to creep down the hillside, at least in our direction. So we're going to continue to watch and see if they can maintain that line where it looks like for now the county fire department's doing a good job of making sure this thing is contained up there. But we're going to keep watching and see the progress of the flames. For the moment, though, guys, from Santa Clarita, Keenan Willard, NBC4 News. If you look all the way around here and just take a look at what this fire today did to this community, to this hillside, and nearly to these neighborhoods, look at some of these houses here and where the scorched line comes down just feet away from some of these homes that are under an evacuation warning because we knew how close this thing was going to get to some of these residential and business areas and even schools. So this was a major concern. We saw some very strong flames burning at the peak of this thing when it went from 5 to 50 plus acres earlier in the afternoon. But what a firefight that consisted of an all hands on deck effort from the county fire department. We saw firefighters like you still see here on the ground spraying, those hotshot teams. We saw bulldozers that were stomping and just pushing dirt down on top of the active flames, creating that suppression line and making sure that ultimately, while it got very close, these flames could not get all the way into these buildings and cause potentially devastating damages to some of these structures and neighborhoods. We also saw drop after drop from helicopter and other aircraft sending water down from the sky and doing some serious legwork in knocking down the flames that were really concentrated in the hills here above this part of Santa Clarita. Again, very close to some warehouses, very close to big box supermarket stores, schools, and homes. We showed you just a second ago just how close this scorch line is to some of these buildings. This came very close to becoming even really more damaging of a disaster than just a brush fire in the hills. The quick and aggressive work from the fire department here, making making a huge difference and really cutting this thing off at the buzzer. We've talked to some people who were watching as these flames race down the hillside towards their homes, towards their neighbors' properties, and were wondering just how bad this was going to turn out. But remarkably, from the efforts of some people like those firefighters, you can see up there in the hills still spraying here, trying to completely knock this down. This did not turn out to be as devastating a blaze as it had the potential to be because of very quick action in the air and on the ground from LA County firefighters. Remarkable to watch up close, and a sigh of relief from some people living in this area, but still very, very close to being a much more destructive blaze here in Santa Clarita, guys.